Phones to silence. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Nir Zohar, President and COO of Wix.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. I'm Nir. I'm Wix's COO. I'm very happy that you've all joined us, and it's amazing to see so many creative people here with us tonight. We have very exciting news to share with you today. But before we go into that, we would actually want to show you a sneak peek into the lives and dreams of some of the biggest influential creators out there today. Please.
If I get on a plane right now and I land and I don't know where I am and everybody's speaking a different language, I can still find the bathroom.
Design is making something with a purpose, with an intention.
We would want to do things that have meaning for us. And I think things have meaning when they can help somebody and they can delight somebody.
Provoke people to think about things and use their voice to create change.
There's some responsibility for designer to bring the power of design that has the potential to create so much positive change.
I sit in my studio, I make something, and tens of millions of people see these things.
Take that second of attention that I have from the viewer and play that to the biggest advantage.
I want to show you what the music feels like.
What could be the most unusual strategy to go after?
To create an optical illusion or different work that surprises the viewer.
Finding the most simple yet unique core and try to just expand it as much as possible.
I think in general, we very, very much keep our audience in mind.
You know, when you do something and people see themselves represented in it, they feel proud, they feel seen, they finally stand up a little stronger.
Being able to see something that I made just as a self-expression into somebody else's life, it's like really touching for me.
I think partially because of technology, we as designers can go into a massive amount of different directions.
Figuring out how to stay up to date without letting the aesthetic and the language of that new technology override the creative idea.
When you're just trying to make something look good instead of the intention and the concept behind it, that's where creativity dies.
When you take that billboard that's on the side of the road, people can dismiss it. They can just be like, oh, that's a billboard. To me, it's art. It's all art. That's all I do is create art.
Wow, what a great way to kick off this event. So it truly was incredible to get a close-up into the minds, lives, and dreams of Julian and Zipeng, Segmeister, and Lake. In fact, both Julian and Lake are here today, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you for being part of this journey with us. So I hope you're all feeling as inspired as I am. For the next part, we actually wanted to try and zoom in on web design and web creation. And for that part, I would like to invite three marvelous guests to speak to me about it. Please welcome to the stage Zach, KitKat, and Jason. So before we kick off this panel, just take a quick chance to introduce each and every one of you. We'll start with you, Zach. Zach is the CEO of Dribble, which is the global community for designers and creative professionals. Just so you know, Zach started as a web designer almost 20 years ago. Before that, before moving into more business-oriented and executive roles at companies including Autodesk, Creative Market, Hire.com, and now Dribble. KitKat, welcome. KitKat is a senior product designer at Big Human. Designs for a really wide range of clients, from early stage businesses to Fortune 500 companies. She's also an experienced illustrator and wedding invitation designer. And Jason. Jason is a growth design team lead at Airbnb since 2015, correct?
Something like that.
Something like that.
A long time.
Jason is what you would call a full stack designer. He really does everything from wireframing to UX and product marketing. I would like to kick off our little panel here by throwing a question to all three of you, which is, it's 2020 and design is often the determining factor for whether a company thrives or fails. In your mind, how does that impact the designers themselves? Kit Kat.
I actually think it's pretty exciting. When I started my career in Manila, the only thing I knew about my future career path was that I might become a fine artist or a graphic design, which would mean pretty much just print or branding. But now design actually has that seat at the table, and there are so many more career opportunities. Before, I didn't even know that I could have a career working on the internet, but now I'm a product designer. So now that we have that seat at the table, it does feel like a little more high pressure, but I find that because of the exciting opportunities out there, it's great to have that kind of work now. My favorite types of projects are the ones where I get to kind of work from the strategy from the beginning instead of responding to a business plan that's given to me. So although there's more pressure now, I think that there are a lot of new developments in the industry that help alleviate that pressure. And one thing I would love to see for future designers, young designers, would be perhaps more training, not just around creativity and design basics, but also things like strategy implementation and business analysis, things that will help us become more entrepreneurial.
That makes perfect sense. Jason?
Oh, me. So kind of to piggyback off what you're saying, I think that there is a lot more pressure as a designer today than there ever has been. It's a good and a bad thing. First off, the success of businesses nowadays, I think, is so critically defined by design. I mean, people make decisions in split seconds about whether they're going to stay on your webpage or not. And oftentimes, that can be the design that they see, whether they understand it or whether it appeals to them. And as a result, what happens as a designer, because these are billion-dollar decisions that we're responsible for every single day in terms of the pixels or where the button's placed, the pressure sort of builds because we're now, something that we used to be maybe in the back corner, now we have the CEO, maybe even the board members looking at designs that we're doing because they know that the success or failure of the business is so tied to this. And it's wonderful to have proper seat at the table. I think it's something that we've all been fighting for many years, and I feel like we're finally sort of arrived as designers. But at the same time, one thing I've realized is that there's a whole other skill set that we as designers weren't taught in design school, which is what do you do at this seat of the table? How do you deal with these people? How do you, sort of survive and thrive in this environment? So it's an interesting time to be a designer.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think to piggyback on that, I think it's, what you're talking about is new, right? We're in this golden age of design that if you go back, 5-10 years, design was this aesthetic function, and now it's become, core to strategy of organizations from startups to Fortune 500. And, the reason why is just, you look at the evolution of what's happened in technology in the last couple of years, and we've seen technology flatten the competitive landscape. 5, 6, 7 years ago, there were 150 SaaS startups in the MarTech space, and today is over 7,000. And so paradox of choice is real. And the way that companies differentiate and compete in the market is by building a better product, a more beautiful product, and a better product than their competitors. And that's all stems in design. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge opportunity. Never before have designers been more in demand, more sought after. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity out there, and it's a great time to be a designer.
Thank you. I want to actually stay with you, Zach, and ask, design thinking is a specific methodology used by designers to, solve complex problems and find desirable solutions. How do you see and use design thinking in the day-to-day life?
Yeah, so I mean, I think design thinking has become a buzzword, right? You see it written about now in a lot of the tech journalists, and HBS and Stanford Business School or have classes around design thinking. And if you go back to the 90s, Tim Brown from IDEO coined design thinking really is just a way to communicate to business people the value of design, right? And there's a framework, and it's a framework to solve problems creatively, but really it's not anything really groundbreaking, right? It's how designers think. And the job of a designer is to take this complex problem and find this simple, elegant solution, right? And it's really about thinking outside the box. And the funny thing is that for a lot of business people, analytic people, they don't think that way, right? They think within the box. They think about a convergent way of solving problems. You take A/B testing, for example, and you're taking away things from a page, the things that are already there, in order to increase the conversion rate or whatever. And what you see is that there's very small 1%, 2% changes. But when a designer applies design thinking, it's a divergent solution to problem solving. You're coming up with a brand new idea, a brand new thing that's drastically different from what's already there. And that's when you see the 30% gains or the 300% gains. And at a larger scale, that's innovation, right?
I'd love to see a 300% gain.
Okay, switching gears for a second here and going to you, KitKat. So we hear designers talk a lot about delighting the audience, right? What does that mean for you? It's more about the experience. It's about leveraging analytics in order to personalize the design. Just what's your take?
So I love this question because for me, delight is like capturing the lightning in a bottle. It's my favorite part in any design project, but it's also the most challenging one for me because it's kind of subjective. Like, how do you bring that smile that's kind of like surprise to the user? So I think it can be done in two ways. Either it's like something that's like really subtle and unexpected, or it's something that's like a big part of the product experience. So for example, on my portfolio, I created custom emojis of my face, which was pre-Apple Memoji, I should say. Like, I started the trend. And what happens when you hover over my face on my website is that like my little emoji animates and frowns at you. And it's kind of like a fun little like scowl.
Only frowns, no other emotion?
Only frowns. And I always get emails, people saying like, I love your site. I love that you're frowning at me. Not even talking about my work sometimes. But it's like a little bit of like a delight, a little bit of a surprise. On a more in-your-face scale, I've done websites like 100 Most Jewish Foods, where I created like a table that spins, and it's like full of food, and you can discover the food that way. So it's kind of like two ways of like kind of exploring how to bring that delight. And maybe even for something that's like, let's say, a more corporate site, you can find that delight in the experience with something maybe that's like usually a painful thing, like resetting your password or entering your credit card information. If the website is able to do it in a way that's like really seamless and you don't even realize you're doing it, then that's actually like a nice surprise for the user. So I think whichever way you do, like if you can bring that like smile to the user, then it's like a win for the experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jason, designer work will probably continue to evolve even more collaboration, especially in this era of global distributed teams everywhere. Is designers kind of working their magic alone, and is a thing of the past? Creative genius no longer a thing?
It's great. That's a good question. I'll say that, like working at Airbnb, we are distributed. We have designers in Beijing, Portland, Seattle, New York, and most of them are in San Francisco. It actually becomes very difficult trying to work across all these different time zones. Everybody's got different surfaces that they own or different pieces of the product that they own. I myself sort of oversee like the core like search to book experience, which we end up getting hit with 50 different teams trying to like work with us and do things with us all the time. So just that collaboration itself can be like very challenging. But at the same time, like it's sort of the expectation that we have nowadays, because we as designers have to look across the entire user journey. I think we can make the mistake where we get sucked into looking at one specific surface that maybe a team that we're on owns, and we're just thinking about like the metrics for that one surface, but we're forgetting about sort of like to Zach's point, like taking a step back and looking back and being like, okay, what are we actually trying to solve here? What's the problems, and how can we like make a bigger impact? Hopefully get that 300% gain, which I've never seen at Airbnb, but I'm down for it.
Stop A/B testing.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversation there, but yeah. But there's like tools that have been really helpful in doing this. They're sort of, we all know them, like Slack and email and chat and all these things. But the truth is that nowadays, when we work on projects, if someone who's on my team comes to me and they're not collaborating with somebody, my first instinct is that these projects are not big enough. Like they need to be across like multiple teams, multiple services, if we're going to actually solve like big problems. So I think in a lot of ways, the success of a designer is like how well they work with other people, how well they're able to communicate and collaborate and like be proactive and like really work as a cohesive team outside of just their like sub-team.
Got it.
And that's where the magic comes from.
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend with the magic. So this one last question is actually to all three of you. And tech innovation and very harsh competition, they make it hard to stay ahead, right? Ahead of the game. How do you guys deal with those challenges? Do you expect the platforms and the tech to become more advanced and solve that? Or do you think that designers should actually start expanding their horizons and learn new skills and maybe new disciplines? Start with you, KitKat.
So 5 years ago, it always felt that you had to adapt to the only software available for designing, like one or two, and adapting it to create a website or product. But now there's like incredible competition, which is why I'm excited to be here at Wix. So it's nice to see like the new diverse array of like products that you can use to design. So I think it's actually a pretty exciting opportunity, and I don't think designers should be pressured to learn 100 new apps and software and try to master everything. I think it's more about identifying the gaps in your own skill set and being able to come out of your comfort zone in order to learn something new. So for example, I previously would use Sketch a lot because I really liked it for designing products, and I still do. But now that I work on more bigger teams with more collaboration, I prefer to use Figma because it's like a collaborative software. Or now that I'm more comfortable with like apps like Figma, like now I'm trying to figure out what like, I should learn next, and like prototyping is a skill that I would like to develop, so I'm going out of my way to learn things like Flinto or Principle, for example. So it's about like being able to identify what's out there and making sure that you're continuously improving.
Yeah, that makes sense. Jason?
So, what's interesting is that there's all these tools that exist nowadays, I mean, more so than ever. We were having a conversation earlier, we were talking about how, when I first started Airbnb, it was like Photoshop, there was a competition about whether we use Photoshop or Illustrator. Then it was like, oh, then Sketch, we move it, and it would just keep like progressing to the next new thing. But, across all of that, the one thing that's been the standard the entire time is like the way people think. And what I'm excited about as like a designer is that nowadays we can kind of like pull ourselves out of the world where we're spending 80% of our time looking at pixels and 20% of our time doing thinking, and we're kind of like inversing that now, and we're spending 80% of our time at the whiteboard, like coming up with a solution, prototyping, like with like low fidelity mocks, and then we're spending 20% of the time using like design tools we have or systems that we have in place or components that are created elsewhere in the company, and just like putting these Lego pieces together to create a solution really quickly once we've spent all that time to do the research and all the conversations. And I think across all of that, like the one thing that doesn't change is that, I hate to say it, but like the design thinking is and the way that designers think is like become more of an attribute that's required in order to be successful. And it's something when I look at portfolios, like I'm looking at someone's work and saying like, is their work up to a certain level of quality? But the real challenge is like, can they show me how they think? Can they show me like, what are the problems they're solving? What's the hypotheses they have? How are they proving that or disproving that? Like that's what's become really important as designers, and I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the innovation in design tools is a wonderful thing, right? So going back to Photoshop, like that was when I was coming up 20 years ago, that was the industry standard tool for web design, for screen design, and it's like a photo editing tool, right? We were using the wrong tool for the job, and now we have Figma and Sketch and Wix, and like, there's a whole like array of all these like awesome apps, and you're just not gonna learn them all, right? And I don't think we should all be trying to chase the dragon of the next, tool to go learn. I think the other thing I hear too is the anxiety around, tools like Canva, or for tools that are making tools for non-designers, right? And like, is AI gonna take away our jobs, or like the templates? And honestly, like that's taking away the jobs that you don't want to do. Like no one wants to make web banners or social media.
Finally, you definitely got the crowd going.
So, look, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the skill you have to work on is your creativity, because the machines will never take out what's intrinsically human, and that's the problem solving, that's the design thinking, that's the ability to come up with these crazy ideas that might work or might not, but that's the magic. But yeah, I mean, I think that we're in a very special time. Again, to be a designer, you can learn anything. Everything's a YouTube search away. If you don't know how to do it, you can learn in 2 minutes. As a takeaway, I think that for designers in this room, the skill sets to learn are, learn how to read a financial statement so that you can talk to the exec team, so you can talk to investors. Learn your infrastructure of the app and how the product you're making is put together, so you can have intelligent conversations with your engineers. Learn how to pull a SQL query, or learn how to read a cohort retention chart so you can talk to marketers, right? Like that's the skill set that's really going to like 10x your ability in larger organizations. And I wouldn't worry about tools, man. I would just focus on, get stronger at your creativity and just get smarter.
Great. Wow. So Kit Kat, Jason, Zach, first of all, thank you. I would love to, sit on and chat more and more for another hour or so, but sadly, there is a counter here that tells us that we soon need to be off the stage. Since we won't, I would actually I know that you all want to hear from the next two people already, and you're anxious to get going with this event. So I would like to invite now to the stage our chairman, Mr. Mark Toulouse, and our co-founder and CEO, Avishai Abrahami. Please.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, Kit Kat. Thank you.
Fantastic. Excellent.
Thanks, guys. Ready?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you very much for coming. On behalf of Avishai and I, we are so excited to be here with you today. He and I have stood up on stage before many times in new product launches before, but I'll tell you, we have never, and we talked a bit about this over the last few days, we've never been so excited to be at a product launch than we are today. And that is because design is at the heart of what Wix does. Design is at the heart of our preoccupation. And so to all the designers in the room, know that Wix believes that you are the core of our identity and where we're going. And what we're going to talk to you about today and demo a little later hopefully gets you sufficiently excited about our commitment to you. But first of all, thank you very much for the panel. The panel had a lot of merits and reminded us about all the tenets that we hold dear at Wix. The first one being, creation and design is more important than ever. No matter what brand you are today, Avishai, we care about making that brand look beautiful, right? The second one is, in this whole area, tech actually matters.
It is. I think that even more than ever before, right? And 300%. Improving conversion.
That's right. That's right. And the third one is that, collaboration has become so key to the design and creative process, right? And those are three tenets that we hold dear at Wix. And hopefully what you're going to see in the product we're going to show, it brings all these things together and allows to make us all very successful. The fact of the matter, though, is that design is difficult. Design is hard. And you guys are magicians, and we are here to serve you. And that magic of what you produce makes us all dream. And that is the commitment that Wix has to everybody here. You know, as an aspiring designer, largely failed, I've often talked to Avishai about saying I'm so frustrated with how this process can be run. But the reality is that failure has helped us figure out what we should do. So Avishai, tell us a little bit about why you came up with the idea for this product and fundamentally why this aligns us with the designer community.
Of course, I think we all saw today how important, right, the designer's work is today. But beyond that, it's also very complex, right? They really are many tools to master. There's a lot of new technologies that keep on changing. And as a designer, you have to collaborate with your team. Then you have to collaborate with engineers. You do all the sketches. Then you take that. You have to work with the developers to implement it. And it's this cycle of fixing and correcting things. And then you debug all of it. And we were imagining what happens if you can have one platform in which you can do all of the designs, everything. You have total control of your vision, from vision to design, all the way straight to production.
So a sort of one-stop shop, right, for designers.
Yes, and I think we have something amazing to show everybody here today. Something that really excites me. It's Editor X. And then let's watch a video.
Great. Wow. Editor X. Freedom, control, sophistication, everything in the hand of the designers. Kind of makes me think, Avishai, that what this really is about is a tribute to designers and to the community. So we're putting designers at the center of everything we're doing. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I believe the team has built the ultimate platform for advanced creators, right? We went way beyond responsive design. And things like flexible canvas, ability to define custom breakpoints, advanced CSS layouting systems. In many ways, right, Editor X gives you full control of every aspect of your websites and of the design. Whatever you can do in the browser, you can do with Editor X, all of this without a developer.
So what we're really doing is empowering creators. And of course, you know, look, the reality is creators were at the heart of what Wix thought for a long, long time. But it's the first time that we've come together and put it all in one place, essentially transforming the creation process.
Yes, as a designer, you really have total control here in every breakpoint. So everything you do, you can actually influence to the almost pixel level. And more than that, you have all the tools you need in one place. You don't need to design in one platform, copy files, talk to the people, do all of the processes, right, back and forth. You really just take your vision, design, click, and you're on production. And that's what is, for me, so amazing. It's all in one place.
So if you're not a great designer, the least you can do is build products for great designers and allow creativity to flourish. So what it really does is, look, EditorX offers this incredible HTML, CSS design capabilities. There's a seamless creation from start to finish. That's pretty cool, but come on, what else you got for us today?
So beyond just the editing, right, we pull in all of the strength of the Wix platform, right? So all of our web infrastructure and business layer. With EditorX, you get all of the power of Wix. You get everything from e-commerce solution to media galleries to video streaming to
security.
blogs, world-class security, which is very important, not so trivial as you know. And if you want, you can actually use COVID and database to build the best web apps out there. So it's really everything that we have on Wix combined with this incredible ability to control the design in every resolution, in every device, every part of it.
So really the best of what Wix has done for 13 years into a platform allowing a new creation process. So a full-blown product for your community. We've had a lot of bits and pieces in the past, but this is the first time there's one for you, focusing on these designers. And while you may like or not to continue to hear Avishai and I, the real stars of today are the folks that designed and made this product. And so I'd like to invite, if I can, Gali and Moore, who are going to walk you through a live demo. I do stress live demo. The product works, it's there, and will soon be available for you all. So to that extent, thank you very much for your time, and good luck to Gali and Moore.
So it's happening.
Let's go.
Hi, I'm Gali. I'm head of product for EditorX.
And I'm Moore. I lead the EditorX group.
So ever since I was a child, my way of communicating has always been through visuals. Anything I can't explain, I draw, and it's so much more than a communication tool for me. Design and aesthetics impact everything that I see and do. And before leading the product for EditorX, I was actually managing UX and design teams. So it's been a dream of mine to be on this side of the fence, creating the exact product I would have wanted to use as a designer.
Well, as much as I like design, and I love design, for me, it's always been about problem solving. I spent a career, a lifetime, solving product engineering problems and puzzling over math riddles. I know geeky stuff. But it came in handy because in building this editor, we needed to solve a bunch of really complex product problems. And I think we did, and I believe what we'll share today is really the best of both worlds, both smart design and beautiful engineering. Let's begin.
Let's go. So first, let's think about those top brands in the world. When they want to build a site, the amount of depth that they need requires so many people, so many teams. They need designers and developers and UXers and marketing and so much. So in order to show you the robustness of EditorX, we invented our own top brand, a high-end watch company called Malcino. And we took the challenge of creating a site for them that promotes the launch of their new hybrid line of smart watches. And we built it from start to finish, single-handedly, all on EditorX without a developer. Now, the Malcino product is really sophisticated. Their technology is cutting edge, so we wanted their site to be impressive in terms of design, but also have a robust e-com solution behind the scenes. So I'm really proud of what we were able to create. It's powerful, it's bold, it's edgy, and the watches are presented beautifully, and especially there's a sense of expanse. And I was able to make unique design decisions for every device. So, yeah. So this is how it looks on desktop, but let's see the mobile site. Cool. So I had this design in mind, and I achieved exactly the vision that I had. So Mo, let's go to the editor and show how we did it.
Let's show the editor. So this is the same Malcino website within EditorX. Let's take a second and examine the workspace, study it a little bit. First thing you'll notice is the expanse, how we cleared away all obstacles and left the canvas really clear for the creative process. As you need them, you'll slide in really panels for functionality. This, for example, we call the inspector panel, is where you define all your responsive layout, behaviors, sizes, etc. To experience this single website in a variety of device types and viewport sizes, you use the resize handles, as Gali is doing now. Up there is the Breakpoint Toolbar. We package the editor with 3 predefined breakpoints, viewport sizes, so you can style for specific devices. However, you can pull up this management panel and add as many breakpoints as you need and change the boundaries of breakpoints. So there will be a lot going on about breakpoints in today's presentations because I think we did something super unique here. We managed to package and abstract away these technicalities of CSS media queries, but still keep complete freedom at your hands.
So that's really amazing. I'm really able to design anything that I want on any device that I want. Let's take a look at this third fold with the giant typography. So there are a lot of designers here. We take typography very seriously. So I want no matter what, who visits the site, no matter what device they're on, what screen size they're on, to get the same impact here. So when building this, I just used the drag and drop, placed everything freely on the canvas. And as you can see, we have a smart docking system. Now, this docking system knows what are the closest edges to the element and docks them. So, and this keeps their position relative, and it also means that they respond to the screen size. So it means that sometimes we get some overlap, some line breaks. So let's take control here. Let's go into the edit text. So what you see now is that the text is on a fixed size. It's in pixels. Let's change that to a sliding scale. So we're going to choose the smallest size to the biggest size. Well, can you do 60 to 110? Great.
How's that?
Now, okay. Now let's fix up the sentence a bit. And now when we resize, you will see that it slides really smoothly. So now that each element, yeah. So now that each element looks great on their own, let's make a relationship between them and get the spacing right. So we're going to select both elements and stack them. Stacking them puts them in a flex box, which knows what elements are inside of it and in what order to push them. Yeah, very cool. And now when we go to tablet, what you will see is that we chose a cascading approach, which means all the decisions we've made on desktop cascade down. Now, what if on mobile I want something different? So here I want to give it a more contrast. Mo, can you try to think like a designer? You heard a lot of designers today. Maybe you can choose a better color here.
What would Gali do? Let's think.
Let's see your skills.
That?
Try another one. Let's go with white so we get a really strong contrast here.
Okay. Does this pop?
Yeah. Well, now it pops. Perfect. So let's go back to desktop and see cascading in action. So what you see that all the decisions we've done on mobile have not affected decisions we've already made on desktop. So let's go into the technology in the core of the product. Mo, I think you should do this one.
I can try. So this next fold in the story, the Malcino website, we used the Editor X layouter. Layouter is what we call our packaging for Flexbox. Actually, another smart way we package Flexbox technology. Now, Flex, you guys know, has been around CSS for quite some time and always get a little bit too complex or too intricate to get right. So we packaged it and made it super accessible for you. Let's see it in action. So this fold has 5 main items, right? The main image, the secondary image, the main title, etc. And this makes it an ideal situation for flex layouting because you're happy for these items, independent items, to float around each other. And as you can see, as we resize the canvas, layouter always solves it very well. So we always have a good layout for the behaviors between the items. But as a designer, it's always a work in progress. So here, we might want to try something else, right? So let's see how we make changes in layouter.
So sometimes it takes a few takes to get the right layout. So let's take a look at how we can change this one pretty easily. So I'm going to grab this item all the way on the left, and I'm going to drag it over here. And just to make it right, I'm going to make this item just a bit smaller. I think now it's pretty balanced.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So powerful tools where you show really your design intent, and Layouter solves it for you. Let's see what we get on mobile.
Okay.
So as promised, it's solved on mobile. But maybe you want something else here.
So they seem to like it. Maybe I shouldn't change it? No.
Let's move on. No.
So I'm actually going to go into, as you can see, the main image is not so main anymore. I want to make it bigger. So I'm going to go into Manage Layout. And I'm going to select a very common layout for mobile. I'm going to choose a one column. Yeah, and now it looks good.
Even I can see the difference. So let's gently resize up and see.
Okay.
Yeah, so tablet and desktop kept their mosaic layout that they had before. So all in all, I think you'll agree, it's an unprecedented combination and a powerful one of drag and drop pixel perfect design when you want it, and smart flex layouting done on your behalf when you want that, right?
So I love that, but for the next fold, I want a lot of freedom because I'm going to make really intricate decisions on every device. So what do you suggest?
I think I know what you need. So for the next fold, we use the Editor X grid tool. Right? This is how we package CSS grid, and it gives you a completely different creative process or creation process. In a nutshell, CSS grid is a two-dimensional framework like you throw on your canvas and gives you precise control over where components drop, dock, and float around each other. Right? So let's see it in action.
Okay.
So this next fold, we're kind of joining mid-design. We skipped some stages. Gali has already added this stack. On the left, you remember stack. And the title in the middle is rotated. That's good. To complete it, we need to throw in 3 images. But first of all, we'll carve out the space. We'll throw in a grid, right?
Yeah.
So apply grid gives you very sensible presets, but we'll go with a custom now. Custom grid of 3 columns by 2 rows. Thank you. You can see the thin white lines denoting where your framework is. This is your two-dimensional grid. Let's go into Edit Grid. So Edit Grid is all other mode of Editor X, where you get to do your advanced design decision, very granular decisions over sizes and CSS. You can add and remove columns, you can reorder stuff, and you can size columns with the full gamut of CSS units for sizing. Everything is available. What we'll do here is pick a 2FR unit, a fraction of 2. In effect, the right-hand column will always be half of the section. You can also see Gali resizing the bottom row using a drag handle to make it smaller than the top row. This is what makes sense for our design now. So we're done. We have our CSS grid defined, and we're ready to add the media. The first and main media will go into the right-hand side, and we'll cover the grid area of the 2 right-hand columns. We'll use this handy shortcut to stretch the image, like so, and now it always covers this grid area. Now, the text got hidden. Do you want to fix that?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
This always happens. So let's see what we got. As we resize, okay, wait. What we want to do here is to have the image always cropped the same way. We want the same area, interesting area of the image, to always show in the same place in every viewport. So let's pull up the focal point tool. Using the focal point tool, but wait, you can make sure the image focuses always, well, on the nose.
Wait, let me find
Can you hit the nose?
here.
Yeah.
Okay, we got it.
And now we resize. It's on its best behavior in every viewport. So we're almost done, right?
Yes.
We have 2 smaller images to add here, the 2 small watch images. And what we want, the effect we're going for here, is for the 2 images to float freely in the canvas, but never overlap. So what you'll see Gali doing is drop each one of the images into its own grid cell and dock it to a grid line. thereby guaranteeing that with the movement, they never overlap. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So in the layouter, which we used a second ago, we had a smart suggestion for mobile and tablet, right? Editor X took care of that. However, here we chose to use grid because Gali wanted complete control over the design.
Yeah.
And with great control comes, you got it, great responsibility. And now she needs to take care of mobile, right? So let's see the mobile side.
Okay.
I'm guessing you don't want like that.
I think I'll make a few changes.
Go ahead.
So, as designers, we are always expected to create magic no matter what the brief is. So, I feel like this is really amazing because the boundaries are gone. You can really do whatever you want here. So, I'm going to show you a few things. I'm going to change this complete layout. I'll start with unstretching this image. And I'm also going to hide these two images I don't want to display on mobile. Here we go. And now I'm going back into the edit grid mode, which we've just seen, and I'm going to change the grid completely for mobile. I'm going to remove these two columns and keep it to one column and 2 rows. Great. Now I'm just going to grab this stack over here. I'm going to move it all the way down. Great. I'm going to move this image over here. I'm going to stretch it back. And just let's make this one a little bit better. Oh.
Yep.
Cool. And the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to rotate the text and give it a different color.
Can we give it up to Gali? Not many people can design live and narrate their work. I'm in awe.
Not nerve-wracking at all.
That's good. So there's one website, and there is a completely different art directions for all the breakpoints. In fact, there's all other CSS grid for mobile, right? So complete freedom here.
Mm-hmm.
So much complexity going on under the hood. There was so much CSS, HTML created during this demonstration, and all this power, and you never had to worry about it. This power combination makes this my favorite feature of the editor.
I get that. So talking about favorite features, I would love to share mine.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I'll go there.
Okay. So for the next fold, I want to introduce to you the Wix Design System. So Wix has over 170 million users. It's a great way for us to grab data and learn what layouts people need, what designs are trending. We've taken all that wisdom, and with our best designers, we've created a huge selection of pre-designed sections, and they come in tons of variety. We have welcome and about and services, so many, and they all come in the color palette of your site. Now, this really helps in the design process in a few ways, actually. The first one is design inspiration. The second one is layout blueprint. You can grab anything from simple to complex, anything you like, drop it on stage and see how we built it, take it apart, do it on your own. And lastly, for bootstrapping our process. Great. So this one is a great example of how you can use many layouting tools at once. This is actually a layouter with a grid inside of it with a stack inside of that. So you can get really complex. And the real thing that I love so much about this is that it comes with built-in responsive behavior for every breakpoint. Yeah. Well, what do you think?
I like it. So as we said, Malcino is launching a new line of watches. Obviously, they're going to need an e-com solution. Now, you've seen a lot already about the revolutionary design capabilities of Editor X. But on top of that, it comes with a full range of business solutions from Wix. You can add on a store, a booking application, other applications with all the complexity and business logic that these entail. You simply drag a store onto the site and use it. Let's see what happens in the Malcino website now. This fold is a watch collection. Really, we're trying to show off the watch inventory, right? So how we went about this is we went to Business Manager and created a database of watches, right? All the prices, images, descriptions, etc. are there. Let's go back to the website. Now we took this data set and bound it to a repeater. This is an extremely powerful dynamic website building mechanism where you define and design as freely as you want a single item, and the repeater, well, it repeats, right? So as you data bound your data set to this repeater, you have your watch collection designed. So that's already a lot of power. In Editor X, what happens is this is combined with the Flex smart layouting that you've seen just a second ago. And let's see what we get. In the desktop, the watch collection is a card layout with 3 columns, right? So let's resize. Stop. It's a 2-column layout, right? Out of the box. But wait. In mobile, as you resize, it will be a
slider.
It's a slider.
So, Mo, I think we really built a site for a top brand. You feel it?
I agree. And we saw that today. So let's review. We saw a flexible canvas with limitless width, right? Limitless options. We saw many smart layouting tools, custom breakpoints, as many as you want. We saw tons of rich content from our design library. And on top of that, the business solutions, COVID, I think we have a game changer.
I agree. And you've only seen a glimpse of what you can do. I'd love for all of you to try it out. We actually just opened registration for an exclusive beta. So go to editorx.com, sign up. I can't wait to see what you do with it. And that's it from us.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Gali. Thank you, Moore. That was truly fantastic. You know, Mark before spoke a lot about our focus on creators, on top designers. Editor X will be the centerpiece for a whole suite of new products, targeted at professional designers, at agencies, at creators, towards people like you. The suite will actually include a whole bunch of functionalities. It will include creation tools, collaboration, management, and growth. Now, we'll start rolling this out in the next few months, and we'll also announce pricing as we do. It truly has been a pleasure to have you all here today. I'm sure that by now you all want to try and test drive Editor X. You'll be able to do that in the demo stations in the back real soon. Please also remember, indeed, to register to the beta while you do that. With that, I would again want to say thank you all really for joining us for this tonight. It's been a huge pleasure. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you.
Hey, 1-1.
You don't know. I'm not ready yet. I got to get everybody. I got Kit Kat. I need product managers. Why are you the only one that behaves? Jordan, I need y'all to be here, and I need to go get my product managers. Man, on your day. You realize they handed me a hot mic, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to wrangle the product managers and get everybody ready. We're going to go live and have a great conversation with the creators of this and people from the community, your peers. We're going to be soon, so give me just a second. I'm ready. Here we go. We are live at this Wix big event. Ronnie, the community knows you. We've had a couple round tables together.
Yeah, we've met before.
It's happened. So I've got to tell you, the last round table we had, when we talked about the editor, you gave us some sneak features. Did you know this whole time that Editor X was in the work, you sly devil?
Well, I may have known something was in the works. This business has been around for quite a while. We've been experimenting, we've been looking, we've been doing so much research in understanding new technologies. So we've been working and boiling under the hood. So I wasn't really knowing this was happening, but maybe I had some info I could not share yet. But I'm so excited I can finally share it.
Oh, finally. It's been super exciting seeing all the energy in this room, and I cannot believe that we're finally here talking about this with our amazing designer community. So let me ask you, when you're building Editor X, how hard was it to build the amazing layers of this design, of the design features of Editor X, on top of the business tools that Wix provides? What were the troubles there? What was the challenges?
Okay. Well, I gotta tell you, first of all, we used a lot of the knowledge and the power and all the stuff that we already know and that's working out of the box. A lot of the work we done was updating the layout of the elements, the existing elements of all the apps, updating all that we had into a responsive new world. But many of the things, that's a lot of the magic. A lot of what Wix has to offer comes straight out of the box. Media Manager, apps and all the business logic, Corvid, all of that was, many of these things were easily integrated into just a whole new world of editing, and the result, design capabilities, amazing design capabilities. So you have all the stuff that's sitting behind us, pushing this editor forward, which is just amazing for us.
I have to tell you, we've had a few launch events, but this was, I think the energy in this room was outstanding. And I have to say, I know everyone in the community is excited about this. What's one thing, if you could say one thing to the community, what would you say to all of our design community members?
Okay, this is a beta launch, and we are just so thrilled to have our team, our partners, our designers, the people we know actually working on this product and giving us their feedback. We are dying to know what we need to do next, what works, what does not work, what can be improved, what is to keep. Please give us any input you can. There's going to be a feedback tool on the editor itself. And us, the team that built this, the product, the UX team, along with a support dedicated team, are going to be answering and reading all the input hands-on, listening. That's the most important thing for us right now, listening to your guys' input.
Our amazing partner community, right? Ronnie, you've outdone yourself. This is outstanding. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Ronnie. So we've got some more. Let's see who's next. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you so much. So Moore, would you like to join us? Moore, say hello to our fantastic partner community. Moore, this is a feat. In your mind, what is your favorite and most impactful feature of this amazing website creation platform?
Well, I think you heard me say the way we package all the intricacies of CSS grid editing, for example, so that you can just design and have us build it for you. I think it's an amazing fit. There's so much going on, and you don't even have to know CSS. It just happens, and in a very good way. So that for me is a victory.
So I completely agree. What do you think? How do you get into the minds? This is an advanced website platform, right? Advanced website creation platform. How do you get into the minds of designers to build something specifically for designers?
So there are two things. One is we listen to the community and to our user base. The other is Wix. The Wix in-house studio is chock full of very strong designers with varied ideas, and we do our best to make them happy. It's hard, but it pushes us forward. This gives us a lot of what we need, the beacon to follow, the designers we work with.
So I know we just had this announcement, and it's a lot. I'm going to ask you a hardball question. Now that you've announced this, or we've announced this, where on earth do we go from here?
Well, let's unpack this. First of all, it's a complete package. Go ahead and use it. However, as product managers, we're never happy. So you can imagine we have a backlog of 40 ideas we'd love to do. What we'll do is we'll listen to the community over the next couple of months and see what really chimes, what rings true, and go for that. Maybe we guessed right and we have the good ideas, maybe we don't. We'll let the community lead.
What if you could ask one thing from the community today for them to go do, what is it?
Try it out, have fun.
Sign up for the beta.
For the beta. If you're having fun, I did well.
More, thank you, please. Enjoy yourself. We've got some snacks, as everybody just saw. Jordan, everybody knows Jordan. Jordan's in the community. Jordan, where did you travel from to be here?
I came all the way from London, the UK. It's absolutely been worth it.
So let me ask you a question. Everybody, there was some speculation and some rumors as to what it might be. Is this what you thought, or are you mind blown?
I'm mind blown. I mean, honestly, I thought that it would be the responsive announcement to the existing editor, but the whole new editor and the capabilities that it gives for creators is something completely new. When we say Wix has got limitless potential, now this is the actual realization of that, and I think it's a very exciting time for all of us to see this moving forward.
What's your, when you saw the presentation, and there's a lot of features, what's your favorite feature, and what's the one that you were most excited about to get your hands on?
To set those custom breakpoints.
Oh, yes.
Journey, I think that's going to be invaluable in creating the right mobile experience where the majority of users come from.
But it's not just classic mobile, right? Because it has you can customize the breakpoints in any way you want to, and it can fit any viewport, right?
Absolutely. I mean, people on iPads and other devices have always really been neglected with Wix, and we've kind of just buried it in a closet and said, oh, we'll forget about that. Now we have the potential to really do something special with it and create a fantastic experience regardless of what happens.
Did you sign up for the workshop tomorrow?
Yes, I will be at the workshop tomorrow.
Very good. Jordan, thank you. If you will, if KitKat, KitKat is, please join it. She's the well-behaved one. You know, I had to wrangle product managers, but KitKat, you were so well-behaved and easy to find. I want to say thank you. I enjoyed listening to your story on the stage. And you didn't know about what this was, did you?
I learned at the same time as everyone else what it was, so I'm like so excited about this like new product that Wix has.
What was your main takeaway? What did you sort of identify the most as being a product designer, but a designer at heart? What did you identify the most with?
So this product actually hits right at the intersection of my interests, which is so cool because I work at a design studio, so I have easy access to developers. So when I'm doing my own freelance business, I know it's frustrating for me that I don't know how to develop my own website. So something like this new Editor X product would be like a savior to me in my work process, so I'm really excited to try it out. I already signed up for the beta, so I hope I get in.
From the side entrance.
So you did, very nice. And when you were talking about making delightful creations, I thought that was really interesting. Dell, are you okay over there? Dell, is everything okay? Are you okay? All right.
Totally, yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, the word delightful might seem that it's just about something that's cute or pretty, like the word delightful, but like it can actually come in ways that's unexpected. For example, when I'm logging into Slack for the first time on the device, it asks me if it wants to email it's called the magic link. Even the copy itself is delightful, and then all I have to do is press that and it logs me in. So it takes away the whole like burden of like, oh my gosh, what's my password? I have to like remember, I have to like type in my whole email, the whole shebang. So even just something as simple as that is something that can bring delight in the process. Like thinking about what the customer is trying to achieve.
Very nice. One more question. Are you going to the after party? KitKat, you are amazing. I can't thank you enough for coming.
I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you again. All right, let's hear from one more special community member. Lorraine is here. You know Lorraine. Lorraine, welcome.
Hi. Hi all.
So Lorraine, Lorraine was in alpha.
I was.
Lorraine, what was it like? What was it like when you know what's coming, but you can't tell your peers? How did that make you feel?
So frustrating not to be able to tell everybody, but it was very exciting being part of it. I worked on, the breakpoints initially, so I haven't seen this final version, so it's very exciting to see it tonight.
So what's beside the breakpoints? What other amazing feature sets did you see that was really?
The way you mobile, and then you could change the layout, and there was a little bit of parallax going on there. I spotted, and just awesome. And the store, the way it becomes a slideshow, amazing. Yeah.
So, since you've already sort of played with it, is there any bit of insight you'd like to pass on to the community about something that you've seen since you've already had hands-on?
Well, I'm going to get to try it more tonight and tomorrow.
Oh yeah, are you going to the workshop?
Tomorrow, so I'm going to get to try it a little more. But I think it's just going to be one of those things you've got to play, try. I love the grid system that you can add different columns. I mean, that was just amazing. So,
Lorraine, I'm so glad you're here. Are you going to the after party?
Cocktails.
By the way, I never got to thank you last night. You treated me to a cocktail, and I want to say thank you. So, we're about to go to an after party, and if you don't know, you can now apply to the beta. And if you haven't, you should, because just like Moore was talking about, it is a lot of our feedback that powers Wix. This is what our community is amazing with. And Lorraine, we're fixing to exit, and we're going to the party. We'll see you there. Bye, guys.